Hello and welcome back to the Nerds Roast channel. We are back with another episode of Anime Deep Dive, or as it's called in Japan, Anime no Shosai. And on this show, we do deep dives of animes that we like or that most of us have watched and really enjoy. We talk about what we like, what we
Or
don't like.
don't enjoy.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, so
We also like interrupting each other a lot as well. You know,
yeah,
it's
we
all
do.
good. Yeah.
We just cut across everyone like.
As friends do.
It's brilliant. It's like, I mean, you just feel like you're right at home, being ignored by all your like friends and family because you're trying to talk, but one of them is like, "No, me."
No,
Sorry,
I
go on.
want to talk.
Anyway, come on. Let's be serious. Serious,
Yes.
serious.
Anyway, but today on the show we have decided to talk about something that we've all watched and all really enjoy, but we all have very different opinions, and that is the Fullmetal Alchemist series, both the original series and Brotherhood. We are including in this episode. We
And
won't go.
some of the manga as well.
Yeah,
because,
some of the
you know,
manga as well.
Why not? I mean, censored. Why not?
If you haven't read it, sorry, spoilers. If you haven't watched it, where have you been?
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Sorry,
Oh.
spoilers.
Shame on you.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Like it's
What's
on
wrong
Netflix.
with
Go
you?
watch it. Go watch it. Like,
It's not even that long of a series.
Well,
Like,
yeah, Brotherhood is.
no, Brotherhood
So
is.
60.
I mean, if you're watching both of them,
Yeah, you could binge it like in a day.
I mean, you kind of do have to watch both of them. And that's getting into some of my irks. Anyway, continue.
but yeah, like I suppose like we get started there. So I'm gonna start it off by like, right, which one did you watch first? For me, it was the original series, which was Fullmetal Alchemist, and in my opinion, I was glad I did that before I watched Brotherhood. What about yourself, Lorraine?
Well, for me, it actually started off with the manga. I was in college. I was introduced to the manga by an older friend who shall not be mentioned because we are no longer friends. But yeah, they introduced me to this saying, "Man, this is really close to your style. I think you'll really like it." And then I looked at it and went, "It's nothing like my style. I wish it was. This is amazing." What captured me about the manga was the incredibly large amount of detail that went into not just the characters, but to the background and to little intricate things that didn't seem to hold importance. But later on, you were like, oh, that's what that was. So the manga played that up really well. And then I heard through what was the name of that magazine? There was a anime magazine anyway, that the anime was being made, and I was like, oh yeah, oh hells yeah. But the style was really different from the manga. So I was like, I don't know. But when it came out, the actual animation itself was so beautiful that it won me over. So that's where I was introduced to it. What about you, Áine?
Well, I have a bit of a different take. I started with Brotherhood and then found out as I was watching it that there was an original series. So I stopped watching it, went to watch the original halfway through and preferred Brotherhood. So I switched back.
Yeah.
And watched it from the beginning.
Which brings me to my irk, my annoyance. So the first one, the original series, followed the manga really closely, really well, all up until a certain point. Sloth. What? Who? What? Yeah. So basically when they started introducing the homunculi, they got up to greed, lust, envy, all perfect. But then they introduced, obviously gluttony was perfect too, but they introduced sloth, who obviously wasn't perfect, and pride wasn't perfect in the original one either. And there was just a lot of it kind of went off on its own thing. And
Mm.
as a fan of the manga, I was like, oh God, this is awful. But I still watched it because being a fan, I wanted to. And I was like, okay, for its own thing, the end of it is actually pretty good. I'm not going to deny the end. And then they made the movie, and you're like, what are you doing?
Not only that, they made 2
I know.
based off that
What are you
version.
doing? Yeah.
And then I think what they did was they looked at what they'd done and what they'd done wrong and was like, right, we need to do a different series and retake this.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. The remake of it, and it was a remake, was great, but it didn't actually explain to new fans like yourself, Áine, that you really needed to see at least the first half of the original one to understand what's going on, because they literally bullet pointed through the first 10 novels, graphic novels. It was completely bullet pointed. Ice cream! Yay, ice cream! Sorry. Yeah, so basically all that bullet pointing and that shortening left a lot of new fans and new viewers really confused. Like, where did this guy come from? Who's this guy? Why is this guy complaining about Ed after doing something to him when he did nothing to him? It's like, but in the original series. It's like, So yeah, it was really frustrating to watch it, and there was a lot of emotion in Brotherhood lost, like the Nina Tucker scene, Alexander Nina Tucker scene wasn't nearly as emotional in Brotherhood as it was in the original series.
Yeah,
in the original series, your heart was literally like ripped out of your chest, slammed onto the ground, danced upon, spat on, then eaten up by a dog, vomited.
Like,
I can go on. I think you get the picture.
Yeah, like I agree with that. Like when they did the iteration in Brotherhood, it didn't hit as hard, but it still had the same tone, but it just didn't deliver as much as did the first time when you watched if you'd watched the original. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I did not see it coming. Like that whole event happening, and I was just like, what? No. Oh, you need to die. Like, sorry.
It's exactly the same with Colonel Hughes. In the original series, you have this relationship being built up between Hughes and Ed and Winry, and you get to know his daughter and you get to know his wife, and it's just, you can see how close they've all become.
He lives for like
really
another 10 or something episodes in the original.
He has a lot more content in the original.
It's like 20 something episodes when he dies, but in the Brotherhood series, it's episode 10.
Yeah, in the Brotherhood series, it's kind of like, hey guys, here's Hughes. Isn't he great? He's kind of funny. Uh-oh, he's dead.
Yeah, it was done very quickly.
There's a funeral.
But that goes back to the point that you're saying that, like, if you hadn't watched the first half of the original series, you wouldn't have gotten that like emotional, like, so that's where like they kind of bullet pointed in Brotherhood in order to get to the actual, like, the rest of the stuff.
Exactly.
Now, with
and
that
also,
second half, they actually did a really good job in doing that.
Oh yeah, the second half of Brotherhood was so on point. It was amazing. Now, there were a few little things that were left out that were in the manga, but they weren't important things. They were just like side stories or little relationship arcs and things like that. So I kind of like that. And there was also new characters. They weren't obviously new in the manga, but there were new characters added into Brotherhood that just made you go, hang on a minute, there's another greed. Hang on a minute, there's this. Hang on a minute, there's that. And it makes it so much more involving because you get more characters to love. But the thing that gets me, do you remember the first villain you see Edward fighting?
Yes.
Freezer.
Yeah.
freezer.
The ironic thing,
No.
the
What?
guy who freezes everyone. The ironic thing about it is if Ed and everyone had left him
Had
alone,
listened to him.
yeah,
Yeah, like
he was literally undoing the rotten alchemy that was under their feet and all the homunculi because he knew what was going on and he almost succeeded. But because they stopped him, they had to go and figure it all out for themselves. So it's ironic that all their problems started by
and they
defeating
could have
the first
sorted
guy.
it within 2 episodes.
I
but
was
they
about to
didn't.
say,
Right.
like, potentially, like, we would have gotten the end in the first episode alone. Like,
Yeah.
potentially. But
Potentially.
it's a nice, like, full circle kind of thing, though. Because you're
It
going on the
really
journey
is.
with them to discover
But
that.
it's
See, this is the thing as well about this anime. Not one character in it is flawless.
No.
They are all flawed because even I know people will be angry with this, but when you look at Ed and Al, why
they're
are they
flawed
the
to
way they
fuck.
are? Why are they the way they are? Because they went and committed a sin that they knew would get them in trouble and they still did it anyway.
Now, you can excuse them to the point where they were children and they didn't actually fully understand the gravity of it. They thought, we'll get our mom back. So you can understand that childish desire. But as adults, you can see that it's really weighing on them.
Yeah, like, and as adults as well, it's like you go back to the whole freezer situation. They only were seeing, they had a tunnel vision view of things. They weren't looking at the outside picture. Now, eventually, they did see the outside picture, and it's because of them that the world was saved. But
again, you had to go on that journey with them.
on that journey, and then you take into account Al throughout the series keeps questioning whether or not he's real. Yeah, and I mean, and you still have to think about it. Yes, throughout the series, it seems like they're getting older. They're only teenagers.
Yeah.
What way to mess with someone's head, like with that?
Yeah.
For Alphonse,
Al was 10 when they tried to resurrect the mom, and Ed was 11. But I mean, later on, you come back to the series, they're about 4 years on. So Ed and Al are a bit older. Like Al is 15, Ed's 16. You know, they're still only teenagers. They're still learning how to do things. But
by the end of it,
they're 18
they're
or
like
something like that.
18, 19 or something by the end. So
now, the thing though about that is, again, I don't think they showed enough in Brotherhood to solidify Al's, okay, I guess I am real. Because in the original series, it was a lot more of, we share different memories than Ed does. So of course you're real. It has nothing to do with me. You can't be imagined. Because Winry and Al had memories that Ed didn't have. But they didn't focus enough in Brotherhood to show that. So it seemed a little bit washed over.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in Brotherhood, they did a lot more with Barry the Chopper. And I love Barry the Chopper. Yeah. I love him so much. He is a mass murderer, but you can't hate him because he's an idiot.
What I found really enjoyable about it is the fact that, like, characters that you should either hate, despise, barring one or two, like, turn out to be the most, like, endearing and kind of lovable characters that you'd want to see them. Like, what are they doing? I mean, like you said, Barry the Chopper. Like, look at like Raph. Like
Raph is so cool.
From the get go, you're like, oh, I'm not messing with him. Oh my god, like
from the get go in Brotherhood particularly, right? You meet him for the first time. He's like, oh, he's fun. He's kind of cool. Actually, he's a bit scary. And it's like, why is he so intimidating? You know, and it's like, and then you get to about 6 or 7 episodes in, you're like, something up with him. There's something up with him. You're like, I don't know what it is, but he's giving me a weird vibe. And then you get the reveal with Greed, with the original Greed, and he's like, holy shit!
And you kind of get that as well with Pride. in Brotherhood because
It looks so cute and cuddly.
I know, but
Well, he's the
and
most
that's
sinister
the
out of
whole
them.
thing again. We're looking back at the original series. Wrath was Pride, and Pride was okay. Oh, even at that, Wrath was a different character in the original series as well.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
they've changed up things because
they changed up so many, and
But-
I can't help it. I love Sloth. I love Sloth in Brotherhood because he's just like, I just want
such
to
a pain.
sleep. Why do I have to do this? It's such a pain.
Well, for anyone that hasn't like for anyone that didn't know about it, like the reason why there was two series in the first place is because the original was done as the manga was still being written. So that's
Mhm.
why it ended like basically halfway.
Mm.
But Brotherhood was made after it was complete. Like the manga had finished, so therefore they decided to do a full reboot, and that was the result with Brotherhood. Now that's why like certain details were missing or changed for the original series. But in regards to characters, like yeah, like some of them are, as I said, are endearing or like you want to see them. Like my like who was your favorite like throughout the whole lot?
It's hard to choose. It's very hard to choose. I think mine is Mustang. I love him.
Mustang's a badass though.
I love Mustang. I love many characters out of it though. You know, I love Ed. I love Al. I love Winry, but I really really like Mustang though. He's really cool.
Like if
But you see, here's the thing. I was actually listening. Here's the thing about Fullmetal Alchemist that a lot of anime actually falls short on the mark. It makes you fall in love with side characters.
Yeah.
Unimportant characters, you're like, oh my
As I
goodness,
love
I
May.
love
I
them.
love May. May is amazing. I love her.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
And
man,
this
Fu.
is the thing is if you're looking at let me think, Dragon Ball, for instance. Everyone knows like the wives, I should say, the side jokey characters and the main guys. But when you're looking at the other repetitive side characters, you're just like, meh, yeah, they're there.
Yeah.
See, this is I absolutely love Dragon Ball. I will knock certain things out of it, but I like it's one of my top three, right? But so is Fullmetal Alchemist, and so is Naruto. So you know, now with Dragon Ball, the original series, you're coming into it, and all these new characters are coming in. Like Tien seems so intimidating when you first meet him, and he's like so powerful and all of this. You get later on in the series, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, even, and
They become
he's
horribly
nothing.
insignificant.
He's
Like
nothing.
it's just
And then this is it. And my problem with Tien's character in particular is halfway through Z, they're doing fights and they're like, oh, we need people, we need this person, we need that person, we need Tien here. Why are you talking about Tien when you've made him look like a joke?
Yeah, right.
Like Tien,
And
even though Tien's strong,
but we digress. Like it
but
the-
that is my point, you see, in a lot, and Dragon Ball is just an example there. It does
Yeah.
it in a lot of different series. They'll introduce a cool character and be like, hey, look at this cool character. Lol, you're never going to see them again.
yeah.
Whereas in Full Metal Alchemist, even if you don't see the character, you'll see
they're always
references to
around.
them, or they'll be mentioned, or, you know,
Like,
you'll
and
see them in the background.
This is the thing in Full Metal Alchemist. Like, I'm talking about Brotherhood because that's where I'm basing. That's my favorite. I prefer that to the original. But anyway, all the side characters, you have like the Frogman, every single one of them plays a part in the story,
Mm.
and it all goes back to the war You know, the whole reason Scar is the way he is because of this war. Like, and you know, then you also Mustang and Hawkeye and all these characters blame themselves for this war. Yes, you were a part of it, but yes, you pulled the trigger, but who was telling you to?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
if you didn't, you were going to die. And yes, you are selfish because you still followed through with it. The only one that didn't was Armstrong.
My favorite.
And he was
do.
called a joke because of it.
I do find Armstrong to be my favorite character through the whole
Mm.
series.
Is this like no go?
Because like his first like introduction, he's presented as a badass, but then by the end of the episode, you're just like, I love this
I love
character.
him. Like, yeah, and
Just randomly stripping off, just like, ha!
like,
But
this is the thing with Armstrong. He started in the war. He was a part of the war, but then he was
Yeah.
like, no, I can't do this. He's holding a child, like a dead child, and he's like, why are we doing this? And you know, and then there's. I also really like Kimberly. I know he's evil. I know he's evil, but this is
Yeah.
the thing with him.
But he's very charismatic. Yeah.
Like, and this is it. He's like, I'm just seeing who'll win, whatever side that may be. I'll take my chance.
Uh-huh.
It looks like the homunculi are gonna win, so I'm gonna team with them.
Team with them, yeah.
And
now here's the thing that I found very interesting about Fullmetal Alchemist is it's completely fantastical. It's obviously fictional. All the things that are being done in it can't be done possibly in our world at all. Not real life. Yet it parodies real life so well.
so much.
It's like you think you know who the good guys are, and you're rooting for who you think the good guys are, and then it's like, well, actually,
I mean,
no.
like, the main story is like Ed and Al's journey, but the actual like the major subplots are the fallout of the war, and also like the political standing of like the Fuhrer. The fact that like it's like espionage to try and like usurp him and become like in charge. It's just like all these little subplots, and with Scar running around, he's trying to figure out what's going on with himself.
Yeah,
But
and
even
then
at that, the whole big thing of it is the city itself, Central, was only built to be
a
sacrificed.
sacrifice.
Yeah,
and this
That
is
was it.
as well. Then you take a character like Winry and put her in the middle of it, because she is the reason. When you think about it, you go down to the nitty gritty. It's like she is the reason they were able to do things in the end, because if she hadn't have talked to them and talked to Scar, I realized, right, I need to let him live. I need to save him. He is going to be important.
What you'd nearly call the human element
in
the show, because she is, as much as I'm not a huge fan of the ending they gave Winry, I do like Winry as a character.
Yeah.
Now, Winry was really smart, really clever, like really, really clever as an engineer, but she was powerless when it came to fighting, alchemy, all of that. She could do nothing. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't a warrior. But that made people endear to her and feel like they could relate to her a lot more than they could the other characters.
Because
she was basically the proxy for the viewer. It's like in this strange, wacky world.
When you think about it, she is basically playing us.
Mm-hmm.
Like she is us, you know. She's looking at stuff from the outside, but also helping on the inside. She doesn't realize she is. But I mean, Al and Ed and Al were like, you know, times when it was really tough for them to continue their fight. She was always there behind them, giving them the extra nudge they needed. That her and teacher.
Oh yeah,
what a character! What a character!
I have to say, her husband and Armstrong are like romance.
Yes, best moment of the whole series.
Episode.
Let's have a buffalo.
Who is that man? That's my husband, a real man. Ah.
Oh, but yeah.
Like
Sorry,
I love
I'm eating
Olivier.
some nice meatballs.
Olivier Armstrong as well
Mhm.
is so cool.
Yeah.
I love her.
It's
And
strong.
this is the other thing is, barring one or two, I actually loved the relationships in Fullmetal Alchemist because they were real. Like, I mean, Hughes, his wife and his daughter, and
Ah,
names have completely left me. But
Alicia.
Alicia
And
but Hughes was
Gracia and Alicia.
Gracie and Alicia, that's right. Hughes was the epitome of every super proud, doting dad. He was a super serious officer. He could do his job. He was very good at it. But he still was like, look at my daughter. Isn't she cute? She's the best thing ever. Which happens. There are people like that. And then you have the real friend who's a playboy, which is Roy Mustang, who's like, I don't care. Please stop talking to me about it.
What a badass! Oh, like when he got serious.
Oh my
Like
god.
you did not like him with like not only with
just lust.
but like with envy.
Envy.
Envy
yeah,
was when he was his most badass.
But the thing is, he, as cool as a character as he is, he needed Hawkeye with envy because he would have became evil.
yeah.
No
Yeah.
problems there. He would have killed envy, rightfully so.
She was
But I
the
mean,
counterbalance to him, like stepping over the
Yeah.
edge.
You see, Rize is
he was going
a
insane.
good
Like,
relationship balance
Yes.
with
Yeah.
Roy Mustang. But that's another thing I like about their relationship. Even though they work so well together, and you can tell,
mhm.
you can clearly see that they're putting that aside, which is what would actually happen. Because there's too much going on to be putting personal emotions in there.
There's too
You
much
know,
at stake for two people to have their happiness.
And this
Exactly.
you can tell they love each other so much.
Yeah.
You know, and they want to be with each other, but it's more like the greater good. Like, we need to focus on what's happening.
Which
I
is
will
kind of
see
why
you
I was
later.
a little bit disappointed in the forced relationship between. Now, I've talked about this before. I hate forced relationships in
God,
anime
yeah.
and manga and everything like that. One where it doesn't really work, but because the writer decided at the start he's just going to plow on through. That's what Winry and Ed felt like to me. They didn't seem compatible.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was predestined. Basically, it's like, oh, this is
Yeah.
the female character that's friends with them from the start. Oh yeah, so they're gonna get together at the end. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Like-
fits that anime trope that unfortunately is in a lot of animes.
It is in a lot of animes, and it bothers me so much.
I do understand, and I do kind of agree with you, but at the same time, they are very good together. And I mean, she keeps him grounded, in my opinion. So,
Áine,
uh,
she hits him in the head repeatedly with wrenches. How is that good? This is a physically abusive relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why else is he fucking getting the fuck out of there?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's the other thing. He's constantly leaving her for months and months and months on end. That's not a relationship. It's not.
No,
Essentially,
not
it's
really.
Sasuke and Sakura all over again.
Right?
well, they're different.
Now, and the thing that bothers me about this is Winry actually did her own soul searching. She did her own journey to be an engineer. She traveled around a lot of other places and met a lot of other people who are like-minded to her.
Yep.
So in that, she would have found someone perfect for her rather than just Ed.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that as in like Ed is a stupid character and he's like doesn't deserve her, because Winry is actually really kick-ass and awesome. But they just don't, to me, they just didn't feel right for each other. Whereas on completely the opposite side of it, when I first started reading it, I was an Al Winry shipper. I was like, Al and Winry are so cute together. Oh my God. But then May came in and I was like,
Yeah.
No, May and Al should be together. Yeah, like it's perfect.
It's so natural. And I absolutely loved it. And that is completely the opposite of what happened with Winry and Ed. Al and May are so perfect for each other because May comes in with this aspiration of her perfect alchemist in Edward Elric. It's like, oh, he's a prince with long golden hair and beautiful golden eyes, and he's tall and he's amazing. And then she meets him, and she's like, "You're a shrimp." She's like, and she's even shorter, but that doesn't matter. But then Al,
the reason why that works,
armor.
The reason why that works is because like the character of Al just has that natural innocence, which bleeds through. Even though he's in this big suit of armor, it bleeds through like a shining bright light. But
the other thing of it is as well, Niall, is May obviously ends up really loving Al, even before he gets his body back, purely because of his personality. But ironically, when he gets his body back, he's the long-haired, tall, beautiful.
What she was actually thinking of originally. That's actually how he turns out.
Yeah, which is it's a really nice touch that he is actually her dream guy, but she didn't know it when she started falling in love with him.
She fell in love with his personality, not his character.
Exactly.
And then she meets him, and she still gets her prince in the end because he's still gorgeous.
But despite that, she still knows she has to go and sort out her own country. She has her responsibilities. So it's nice to see that even though she is a female character who is in love with this guy who is her dream guy, she's not like, I'm going to drop my life and dedicate it to you now. She's all like, I'm going to continue on with my life, get all my shit sorted, and when everything's done, I'm coming back for you. So you better be ready, okay?
But not only that, like Al decided to go to Xing to learn about the alchemy there.
Yeah.
And that fact was actually, it was brought up in both, like the original series and with Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Because if you watch the original series, obviously they took a different ending where where Ed got sent to an alternate universe, basically. Sorry, spoilers. You were warned at the start of the show. But sent to a different universe.
That's what you're spoiling people over.
Yeah.
Not the fact that we've told them about Alexander and Nina, not the fact that we've told them that Hughes is dead.
They were warned at the start of the show. Anyway, but like
okay.
But the fact that like
oh no, Ed goes to an alternate universe.
And Al is trying to find a way to get Ed back. So he decides to learn from not only from Western alchemy, he went to the East to learn about Eastern alchemy and try to blend them together, which is still a plot point that was used in Brotherhood as well, where both of them, where instead of just one of them going off, it was both of them going to two different ends to try and learn as much as they can and come together and form new alchemy.
Al went east and Ed went west. So Ed was going off on his own, traveling like away, and then Al was going to where May was.
Yeah.
Because, one, he can learn a lot there, and two, he can be with May. You know, so it's like, and what I love is when they're coming home after all of the saving of the world has happened. They're coming back to Winry's house, and he's like, "Are you trying to be the future Prince of Xing?" He's like, "She is nice, though."
No,
and
he's still so cute. He's still so innocent in a way, even though he's grown. He is still really innocent. Although they cut his goddamn gorgeous, beautiful hair. Why? Why would they do that?
Although when he cut his hair, he was a handsome fucker. He was.
He was handsome.
Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
Don't deny it.
Goddamn beautiful blonde hair. May wanted her long blonde-haired prince, and he cut it off.
We kind of tiptoed around it, but Ling, like his goal of trying to find a philosopher's stone. and his
Yeah.
journey of like being basically a spoiled like rich brat to wanting to be a proper leader for his
Mhm.
country.
And becomes the leader of his country.
Like he
Yeah.
had to go through the process of like basically becoming a vessel for homunculus.
Yeah.
But very good character, especially like we talked about the counterbalance with like Mustang and Hawkeye. This is another one as well where like you have Ling, who is like this impatient and like sometimes like headstrong on some things, whereas like Greed, he just wants everything,
Mhm.
everything. But he's the nice counterbalance at times, and also like bleeds into what Greed actually kind of gives him clarity about what he actually wants.
And then you look at Ling and Greed, kind of, but mostly Ling, with Lanfan, because she's so perfect for him. Like she's like
Yes.
badass. She's a protector, so she can always keep him safe. But at the same time, he can keep her safe. She also really does keep him grounded because
Yeah.
he's like, yes, you are a prince, but please don't forget that you still have people. And the thing is with him, even though he was spoiled, and you know you could tell he was spoiled, but even though he was a prince, he still cared about his people.
Yeah.
More than he cared about anything else. Like,
But
he
the
taught you how-
nice scene in that is when Ling is inside the vessel, his own body, being overpowered by Greed, and he's constantly fighting back. Greed is like, stop fighting. You can't fight against me. And he's like, yes, I can. I want this. I want that. I want this. And he's listing off all of the things that he wants. And Greed is like, wow, you're even more greedy than I am.
my resolve is
whole-
better than yours. Like, I
Yeah.
have a stronger resolve.
But it's the whole acknowledgement of, you actually get me.
yeah, and then
That's,
it's like Greed. You know, I know he was a homunculi, and I understand that, but it's like it is kind of harsh that he ends up dying. You know, and it's like, oh, just as he has a what would you say?
epiphany.
Yeah,
An
it's
epiphany. And he's like, they've given me everything I wanted. It's like, oh.
Yeah, he didn't realize what he had until like it was basically
Gone.
the end. But
Like him versus Rat is amazing. Like,
Oh,
because,
yes.
like,
Oh, yes.
the realization that Rats took away his personal toys, as he called them,
Mm-hmm.
his friends, he took his stuff, like, and he's like, you killed them.
we
Yeah.
we liked about
And-
like the characters, but like keep in mind like the animation now it's done really well in the original series, but Brotherhood, like the technology was up there, like had
Takes it to the
improved
next level,
drastically.
yeah.
But the animation was done so beautifully, and the presentation for fights was on another level,
It's
and
very fluid,
it
yeah.
just got you engrossed into it. Like
Mm-hmm.
you had to keep watching because you wanted to see how these fights played out.
Do you have a least favorite character?
Me.
Mhm.
No.
It doesn't even have to be a main character. If you
No,
think-
I'm trying to think. They all have a part, but I don't really like the librarian that much, but she has a role.
Yeah.
Cheska.
Yeah. I don't, but at the same time, I think the reason I don't like her is because I relate to her way too much.
More than
Like,
you should.
Oh no, I've gotten buried in a pile of books.
Like, I can understand as well why people may.
I've organized it and inventoried like every single one. It's like, how? How did you do that? Just
Obviously my memory isn't photographic, but I do have this knack of remembering really weird details. Oh my god, it's time for guest appearance.
hi, Houdini.
Guest appearance from my dog.
Hi.
Also,
But
we forget
it's-
like that Edward is actually rich. Like rich.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, Like that one scene where he's in the library and he just like hands her like
Did he miss a
here.
decimal point?
like just yeah, just tell him enter that number and say it's from me. He's like, how?
Boy, it is like, I mean, it does show the difference in like societal hierarchy as well, because you do see the Ishbalans basically living off the land.
Poverty,
They're
yeah.
dirt poor.
They're living in the
And you've got
slums.
Central.
Literally living in the slums.
Yeah, Central, they're literally walking around with their parasols and their lace-up corsets, and they're being all fancy ass. And they are ignorant. They're completely ignorant to the toils and turmoil of the people who are in the outskirts. They don't want to know, and that is another parallel with our world, because you see that happening even here. And that's why I think Fullmetal Alchemist is so easy to get involved in, because you can actually relate to it, despite the fact that it's such a fantastical universe.
Real world stuff going on. There is racism, discrimination, everything. Like this is the only thing I don't really see in it is sexism, because women are the soldiers as well.
Yeah.
So like, and
yeah. No, yeah, I'll give you that one. It's not, there's not really sexism in it.
as well as
The other thing that is touched on in it that is so subtly done that you don't even realize that it's being done is there's PTSD in it.
Yep.
yeah.
And it's so subtly done. Scar is a walking PTSD.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm going back to where you were saying with the whole economy in that anime. It's like that Central is like minted.
Yeah.
You can tell they're minted because they literally have prostitution going on. Now, nowhere is going to be thriving with that if they're low on money.
Yeah.
They have a car. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Which like gets revealed later on that it's like Mustang's like mother. Like his adopted mother. It's like,
which explains why he's such a man whore.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other word for it. He's a man whore.
Although, like, because it just roundabouts onto the fact that like the espionage,
Yeah.
General.
the like sorry the major the old major.
Oh yes.
Like,
oh, I love him.
Guys is just walking along like dressed as an old woman or like just hiding there. It's like, hey,
Like, he's a bit pervy though. I don't like.
Every anime has to have a pervy character.
I don't like.
It's like an anime checklist of like stuff that we have to have, even if it's
like,
just.
I mean, at least he's not as extreme as Minata. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does go up and touch Rebecca's ass while she's aiming a shot at a targeting range.
That's true, but he's not trying to trick her into falling asleep so he can molest her.
He's not a Master Roshi.
Yeah.
Like,
no, Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, that's why what I'd say about Fullmetal Alchemist is it's just very relatable. A lot of real life issues going on in a fantastical world, so you can separate from it, but you can also see lessons that should be learned, which is always nice to see in an anime.
The soundtrack.
What's your take?
Is fantastic as well.
Oh yeah.
The intros, like intros and outros, like they have beautiful like music to accompany, like even though it's such like a dark tone, like the music kind of counterbalances that as well.
And you know, there is one thing I really like about Brotherhood is that they're given like little snippets of this might happen later, but you're not sure how you were supposed to catch it early on.
Like, foreshadowing.
So
lots of foreshadowing.
They show Father in the first episode. You just see his eyes because of the whole freezer thing, and it's like, you know, you go back and rewatch it, and you're like,
Oh,
I
gee.
didn't realize he was there. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. You never cop it
I look
because you're not looking for it.
Yeah.
later on. You might be in the 50-something episode, and they'll talk about something that happened in the first four. You know what I mean? And you're like,
Yeah. There's
that's great
throwbacks.
because they throw back to things that happened before. They're like the whole Mustang with Hugh's death. You're never allowed to forget because he's like, I'm going to kill someone. I'm going to get revenge. If I have to kill everyone, I will do it. Like, but then there's the whole Maria Ross thing when they frame her for it. You're like, no, he didn't kill her. He didn't know. Like, Mustang, I want you
Not
to
a
be like character.
Yeah. Yeah. But they play it out so fucking well. They do it so well. There's actually another thing that I almost forgot to mention. Can we talk about Armstrong's sister, the General Armstrong?
Yeah.
Lydia Armstrong.
I
Beating the
fucking
crap
love
out of him.
her. I fucking love her. She's amazing.
Right? The thing that I love about her is she's super strong. Super, super strong, but they didn't make her like they did in Fullmetal Alchemist, the original, a petite little girly girl.
Mm.
But they still kept some womanly features,
Yeah.
which I loved, absolutely loved. But the other thing I love about her is how smart she is.
Mm.
Now, I love Armstrong. He's great. He's got a brilliant curl on the top of his head. He's got a really nice mustache, and them muscles, yo, they shine for days. But he ain't got brains, yo.
No,
But Olivia, she's got smarts.
Like the scene
she's
in
smart.
particular is like
She's
they walk
strong.
into the Fuhrer's room, and one of the soldiers is like, "You gonna take your seat? Why would I make myself a target?
Yeah.
Let's go." It's like
Yeah.
it's a simple logic,
badass.
but
Like, this is the thing, right? With her character, she is gorgeous. She is absolutely stunning. She is also, as you said, smart, strong, commanding. But at the same time, she can like she can sympathize with you in certain things, but she's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna explain to you why I don't see it the way you see it.
Yeah.
Because
She has a sense of empathy to her.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love her soldiers as well. Like, they're so cool. Like, Miles is great. Miles is fucking great.
The thing I love about
Yeah.
this whole situation, though, is so Ed and Al go to try and ask her for a favor, and all the soldiers are like, "Oh, she's never been defeated. No one has ever been able to get past her defenses except for that one time."
Except for your
And
basically.
the one time turns out to be their teacher stealing their supplies.
The only person who can get through her defenses is another woman.
Yeah.
Like,
And I love that because they meet up and they don't even know. It's so fucking beautiful. Absolutely love this rivalry that doesn't really even exist. It's so funny. It's a great dynamic they had there. It was great. I absolutely loved it.
Do you remember then as well when teacher Azumi is going to try and talk to Buccaneer and Miles and all, and she like breaks into the fortress again. They're like, "We're under attack." It's like, how many are attacking? One.
One.
And they're like, one?
Just one.
It's just like those attacks that happened. What was it? So long ago. Remember, somebody stole food for a whole month. I had survived for a month on the bricks.
Fighting bears. It weren't bears you were fighting, yo. It weren't bears. But no, freaking funny though when Al and Ed realize it and they're like, "Hey, you were just stealing supplies," and she's like,
And
"You gotta do what you gotta do."
what I love about Azumi is how she's so girly when it comes to her husband.
I know. It's great. Like her husband is this like muscle bound. Well, he's such a softie. And then she's this petite looking, lovely, girly looking person who's really, really strong. And it's such a really nice dynamic.
They go to mush when they're together. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a great dynamic. And again, brings me back to them doing relationships really, really well.
Yeah.
You know,
the anime isn't completely flawless. Like they are going to have flaws, just like any anime. But to be honest, like the character builds are so good. Like the smallest character you don't think will have any effect on anything is going to be really important later on.
Yeah. Like the two chimeras who end up teaming up with Al when they go out. They end up being really important. The small town doctor that gives them a few notes ends up being really important. You know, there's so much little characters that you don't think.
There was one character I don't like in it.
Go on.
The mustache guy. He serves no purpose.
Which mustache guy?
Remember the one that was from Leo? No, he wasn't from Leo. He rides around with Scar. The one with the mustache.
Oh,
yeah, Ed. It's like, yeah, fair enough, but you hate Ed because you were a villain and he stopped you.
Yeah.
Right? But the only thing he does is rides around with Scar. Yes, he kind of humanizes him. Like, because he's always with him, so he has to kind of be. Eventually, he warms up.
He drove a car into a homunculus. That's his big contribution.
Yeah, that's what he did. That's all he done.
It's like, get in! I don't want to die!
This brings me to the manga, because in the manga, he's more developed as a character. And he has more relevance to be there as a character, because...
Two shining moments.
Yeah.
First one is when he does the car. That's the big thing he does.
Yeah.
The second one is when he helps him go through the tunnels.
Yes, but the main reason for him as a character to be around in the manga was the fact that Scar himself, he didn't know how to interact with people. He didn't know how to help May. He didn't know how to do anything. And that's where that character came into it, because he's like, well, okay, fine, I'll take over this while you go and save our asses. He was literally the wife in the situation. Without him, everything would have fallen to shit.
Yeah, I agree.
But it wasn't as cemented in the anime as it was in the manga.
Like my main issue with him is like, yes, I get it. I know he helped here. I know he helped there, but he wasn't even that important to have enough redemption. Like he didn't even need it because he didn't care.
No. Yeah. He was like a really watered down Kimberly.
Yes. Like, it's like a drop of fruit to it. Like that. That's the way he was. It's like, okay, yeah, you're there. Okay, thank you for helping that one time.
Kimberly, however, was a sociopath. He just loved killing.
Oh my god.
Like, such a sociopath. Whereas
on the way
that
out.
guy just wanted money and profit and fame. Kimberly was in it for the lols.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I'm just in it for the thrill.
He trolling the guard on the way out.
Yeah.
It's like, here, I got you a present.
You can give it to a kid or something, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And this is it. With Kimberly, you knew he was there just to kill people. You knew he was there. That's the way he was. He was just extremely intelligent
But
about
that's
it.
what made him
And that,
so dangerous, because you knew that if he's there to kill. No messing about. He's there to kill.
mm,
So therefore, he should be feared anytime he steps into the room.
Which brings us to the final thing that I'm going to talk about is the psychology behind Fullmetal Alchemist. It's really clear to me that the writer looked up personality types and psychology types, because each character's psychological profile sticks. It
mm,
doesn't shift, it doesn't change. It stays to what the profile would be.
Mm.
And you find in a lot of shows and a lot of series, they'll start off with a character being in one way, and then because they're not getting a good reception, they'll drastically shift to the other way,
Yeah.
which I hate. I absolutely hate that. Whereas with this one, even if they don't get a good reception, he's stuck to that's the way they are.
yeah.
And it's also really highlighted when he isolates aspects of a personality in the homunculi, like lust, greed, wrath, pride, sloth. He's like, yes, these are an aspect of a personality, but lust in itself isn't just going out and banging people. It's a lot deeper than that. And they show that with the character.
Yeah, because
They show it with all the characters. Like, being greedy isn't just about wanting physical things, it's about wanting. It's really nice to see that actual proper psychological take on it.
you look at the homunculi, and they are done very, very well. Like, because their characters are like, some of them are irredeemable, but others are like, well, I can see you being a nice person. I mean, maybe if you just changed a slight bit, you'd be nice, but no. Like, the only one that properly changes to be nice is greed. I mean,
Envy.
envy has a moment, but overall, still evil.
Like,
No, his very last moment was complete self-sacrifice.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the characters are, they stick to a very, like, basically, like, almost concrete, like they stick to it, unless they are a character that specifically has to go on this journey to change, then that's fine.
But they give the journey of change.
Yes.
It's not a drastic switch. It's a
No.
journey of change.
It's not like a typical anime. It's like, oh yeah, he's the bad guy, he got beaten, now he's a fucking good guy. It's like, no.
Yeah, it doesn't
Literally, like,
work like that.
you've seen the journey.
Mm.
Like obviously Ed and Al, they're the main focus, so that's why we see their journey. But with some characters, some of the other
Scar.
characters in play, yeah, Scar is another example of, like,
Scar is a perfect example of that. Someone who started off with a vendetta, who then learned, oh, there's more sides to it than just black and white.
Yeah, he was basically a mindless kill machine, just like aimlessly, like, just, okay, I'm gonna kill all these people because they ruined my life and took away everything. But you see the journey, because, like, he's interacting with people that are on that the other side, and then trying to get their perspective. But then also when he bumps into the Ishvalans, like, and then gets their perspective of how they've moved on. Like,
Yeah.
be better than what was before. So therefore, see that journey. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. And the writer,
And it's really naturally done. It's really well done.
it's not forced.
So, like that again, yeah, it's all to do with the psychology behind it. It's very, very real. You know, you can really say, no, I could see that happening. I could definitely see that happening. The only one who doesn't have a stable psychological profile, and there's a very good reason for it, is Gluttony, because he switches so much in the show, and that's because he is not made to be a human replica like the rest of them. He was made to be an artificial gateway. So he is technically not even a homunculi. He's just a failed experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's like, there's no reasoning with him because he's
Yeah.
there to do what he needs to do. That's it.
I mean, in
Yeah.
the original series, I mean, they took away his emotions, and he just became a mindless killing machine.
Yeah.
No matter who it was, he was gonna like kill.
Yeah.
Which is a drastic difference compared to what he was before that in the
Yeah.
original. And
Yeah.
even in Brotherhood, where like he still retains his personality, but it's
when
kind of
lust dies.
it's toned. Yeah. Like they get so sick of his like blubbering
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's dead, so they just take away all his emotions.
Yeah.
He's a kill machine. But Brotherhood, they kind of kept him. They didn't give him full on kill machine, but they gave him a blend of the two, where he still retained emotion, but
Yeah. He was
not,
angry.
he was not a joke.
Yeah, he wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
But he was still at the heart of it an unintelligent being who was very easy to manipulate,
Yeah,
which is why the other characters were able to overpower him so much, because technically out of all the homunculi, he is the most powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Technically.
But
because he doesn't have the intelligence behind it, he can do nothing.
Yeah.
Like because like if you're talking about like alright, the sins basically, like it's why in terms of power wise, like how would you scale them? Because like as you said, like gluttony like is technically the most powerful,
should be the most powerful,
but lacks the intelligence, therefore like it drops him down.
Yeah,
is very cunning, but like and a bit sinister, but
ultimately beautiful.
Yeah, whereas like Raph has like
Raph,
almost the best of all.
Raph is a different kettle of fish altogether, because the fact is, yes, he was powerful as a homunculi, but he is also trained to be a king. So he can always protect himself, whoever he wants to protect, because he was so badass. I mean, he was fighting Scar and literally gave him his final blow with no arms. Okay, like, the man had no arms left. He was the character is so cool. Now I know he's evil. But not the point. I mean,
the character can be evil and you can still like them.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about the sins is actually something I really like as well. Is they all have their own merits, but they all have a weakness.
Yeah. Like, because with Sloth, he was like, I just want to sleep. Like, let me sleep. Like, you know, I mean, I
have to do this. Mendoxai, it's such a pain.
Yeah. Like, and this, I mean, I really liked his character because you knew it was he just wanted to do his work and rest. That's all he wanted.
Yeah.
The likes of Gluttony wants to help Father. Just wants to help Father.
He's like a child.
Okay. Yeah,
he is literally like a child, just wanting recognition.
Pride, however. Now we're looking at him, he's different.
He's sinister.
He's very sinister. But then he has this moment at the very end. He's like, I want my mama. Like, you know, I mean, it's like because she protects him.
That was another thing that, like, for me, it was just like, okay, are they basically like plot holing us like something that could happen in the future? It's just like, it's one of my irks about it. Like, one of the things I don't like. It's like, don't kind of tease as if like something else could happen down the line.
Yeah.
It's like, either end it or don't. Like, one or the other.
Yeah, well, see,
I think the reason why they left the baby was purely because it's like this was a whole species that we've practically wiped out. So we're going to leave one so it can be raised in a good way to show that even if you were born to be evil, you don't necessarily have to be evil.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like with Wrath, however, he's very, very different to the other ones because he's like, yeah, I'm trying to achieve the goal that we have here, but at the same time, I do love my wife.
Yeah.
I
Well,
do
you see, that's because of the human aspect.
Yeah,
He wasn't just created; he was a host.
Yeah.
So,
and it's like, oh, I can see where he's coming from. And it's like, yes, humans can be evil too, but they can also have relationships. I have a family that I love.
yeah,
Regardless of who's in my family, I love them.
Yeah.
Like, that was really nice. And then you have Lust. Lust, see, she's a difficult one because she was playing with people. She was playing with people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's like,
But she wanted what she couldn't have, which is strange because like all of them kind of had that same like underlying thing where
Yeah.
they wanted what they just could not have.
She was
Well, you
always
see,
out of
this
grasp.
is the thing. Lust is actually a parody on real life relationships.
yeah,
Lots of people mistake lust for love.
yeah,
Lust wanted love. She
Yeah.
wanted to be loved, but she didn't understand what love was. And she mistook it for lust, which is what happens so often in relationships, where that's, I think, why she didn't understand how Hawkeye and Roy were able to fight so hard for each other, because she didn't understand love.
Yeah.
She didn't understand that drive to actually protect the one you love.
Mhm.
And that's why she was jealous.
And then you go into envy. Envy is literally jealous because envy didn't have what humans have.
Yeah.
He,
Androgyny.
yeah,
They.
gay.
Yeah,
They.
let's not go with gender. Like just envy.
Envy didn't understand why humans were able to fight for each other, help each other, respect each other, even. Because it's like, but I can't do that though. Why can you do it? Like,
It wasn't until he actually started journeying with humans that he began to learn.
And I was like, oh, they are very nice, aren't they? And I was like, yes, they are.
And he learned then that the things he was envying and the things he wanted by journeying with these people, he had. But he hadn't realized that he had them. He had friends, he had people he wanted to protect, he had a family. But he just didn't know it until the pinnacle moment. Same thing happens with greed. You know, they both have their pinnacle moment at the end where they have that epiphany where they're like, oh my goodness, I actually had everything I wanted and I didn't know. So they can die in peace. Whereas you find with Lust especially, she had a very traumatic death. Very traumatic death.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really traumatic.
Alive? I'm pretty sure that's traumatic.
Yeah, right. But burnt alive because of the thing that she couldn't have. That's why she was burnt alive, because she threatened the person Roy loved. So
threatened the person Roy loved more than anything. Like this
yeah. So that's why it was so traumatic for her, because it was her ultimate desire that actually killed her. You know?
Oh,
so
although, like, how badass was Mustang with envy?
Oh my god. I'm looking at it with lust.
Envy
walking in ripped 6-pack, seared the wound closed, and he's like, I love
Like
it.
Envy didn't have a chance to say anything. The eyes are just like lit up. It's like ah.
Yeah.
I love him. I have a figurine of him in my room. It's great.
I wonder where you got that.
Well, somebody gave it to me from a certain someone.
It's not like I have a
have a-
store that sells merchandise and figures
Mm.
that you can go
I
to.
have
That
a
happens to
figurine
be
of
called
it.
CraftyLikeAFox on Facebook that you should totally go and visit if you want to get all your nerdy merchandise.
And as of the time of recording, a new anime has dropped on Netflix called Demon Slayer, which if you do watch and you enjoy, you can also go to Crafty Like a Fox to get all of your Demon Slayer merch. go check
Except for
it.
the figures, because they're hella expensive, yo.
I'm broke. I need money.
They're so expensive, yo. So yeah, since I'm plugging my own store, if you are looking for anything specific, I will be going to Japan hopefully in May. Send me a PM and I will have a look at it and see if I can get it for you. But you have to pay me first.
Yes, money comes first.
With the
No,
dollar.
well
Go
worth
on.
it.
I
Well
kind
worth
of am a little bit.
But I suppose as we head toward the end of this, like obviously we all really enjoy it. We do really enjoy the anime. We've enjoyed like watching the series, but if you read the manga, you've enjoyed it. For people at home that haven't, like now it is basically us gushing over it like for the last like however long it is, but we're talking about different aspects of it and why we like it, and also some things that we don't like. But this is generally an anime and series or manga that we'd heavily recommend for you if you're looking for something new to either watch or read. This is definitely the one to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
You know, if you just like some slapstick comedy, that's in there too.
See, this is it. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, anyway, is my most rewatched anime. As I said, it's in my top three. I can never rank them because they're so good. But like, I love Dragon Ball as a series. I'm talking about from the first series to Super. I love it, but I can only watch. Say, I go and rewatch the original. Then I'll have to take a break and then rewatch Z. Then I'll have to take a break and rewatch later. But with Naruto as well, as much as I love Naruto, and I will rewatch it no matter what happens, but I will also cut out a lot of the filler. With Fullmetal Alchemist, however, I will watch that as many times as possible, no problem.
And on that wonderful note, we will have the conclusion. I've never seen Fullmetal Alchemist before. Áine, give me a reason why I should watch it.
Well, if you want an anime that literally has everything, it has dark humor, like funny humor, it has romance, it has action, it has a great story, great characters, great character builds, amazing side characters.
Oh, wow.
Really, really evil characters.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying I should watch it?
Yes. You should watch it. Everybody should watch it. It's great.
Watch it.
And if you watch it as a little tidbit, like go watch the extra features if you can for the series of Brotherhood, because there's some really good extra features on that.
Especially for Al's voice actor and his love of his bowl. Oh, he loves his bowl.
And also go watch the comedy version of it. It's like the piss take of the series.
The
bridge episode. There's one
episode
of the bridge series, and it's hilarious. Oh my god! Like, it's so funny. It's like, Grandma wanted me to tell you we're making stew tonight.
But yes. On that lovely note, we will call it a night, I think, Call it a
Yeah.
day? Call it an
I
evening?
think so.
Yay!
Yeah.
Afternoon, evening, whichever. But yeah,
I
if you
don't know
have
when
enjoyed
you're
it,
watching this, okay?
yeah, let us know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. Please do all that because it does help out the channel. You can find us on Nerds of Us channel. You can find Lorraine at CraftyLikeAFox at Facebook.com. You can also you can find us FoxyBros.retailer on Facebook.com to get your anime merch, pixel art, whatever, like everything. Please buy it. We need money. We're broke.
We have no food.
What?
I have no food.
About my
No food.
idea to
You
just
feed me.
Yeah, we'll talk
If
about
you
that.
can't do it for me, do it for Stitch.
Yeah, do it for Stitch. But on that note, please like, subscribe, let us know your thoughts if you enjoyed it, if you didn't like it, if you've gone and watched it, let us know what you thought about it because we'd love to hear it. But on that note, you can find us on Nerds of Us channel, and hopefully we'll see you again for another episode of Anime No Shosai.
Anime no Shosai.
See you
Anime no
later.
Shosai.
Bye.